Last time, we saw that pores had started to take on an absorptive character throughout the 17th century. By 1814, we can see how entrenched the idea became. A. Brooke Falkner, a physician to the British soldiers, wrote an essay on his observations of the plague in Malta. He can't understand why people living during the medieval times put so much stock in injunctions as a preventive against the plague. After all, people who had regularly rubbed themselves down with oil had died from the plague, as well as those who had not. But, most tellingly for us, Faulkner muses, "Is it more unphilosophic to suppose that when the perspiration has ceased, the subtle, virulent matter of pestilential infection may make its way with equal facility inwards through the absorbent pores?" For him, the existence of pores with an absorbent quality was a given. As a corollary to that assumption, the traditional purgative effect of injunctions can now be seen in a negative light, as increased attention focuses on movement into the body. About 20 years earlier, we noticed this subtle switch in logic behind vapor baths as well, when George Adams writes about the capacity of the human body to absorb liquids and adds that part of the utility of medicated vapor baths depends on this principle of imbibition by the pores. A French medical dictionary around that time notes, in its entry for pores, that there are exhaling pores and absorbing pores. And almost half a century before that, we can find an entry which equates absorbent pores with the absorbent vessels of the body, which take up substances from without or within the body and can function as providing nutrition to the body. In 1779, one William Cruikshank makes an argument in favor for the absorption of a particular kind of medicine via the internal surface of the mouth. He cites a number of factors that favor this form of administration, like the mouth as a better absorption site than the digestive tract, and the fact that this form of administration doesn't cause the same nasty side effects of vomiting and gripping. Not causing vomiting is quite important, actually, because if the patient does vomit up the medicine, he or she most likely has not absorbed enough of the medication for it to work. And this method is also more convenient for both doctor and patient. For the doctor, because he no longer needs to prepare ointments, and for the patient, who has to endure vigorous rubbings and consider how best to prevent the oil from staining the bed sheets. This medication was calomel, and calomel is actually a form of mercury. So we can see that because pores became associated with an absorbent function in addition to a purgative function, a couple ideas change as well. The methods of orally administering mercury are debated instead of flatly condemned. We also see the idea of how medications work. It shifts from being solely viewed through the lens of opening pores for expulsion to the idea of a necessary absorption and temporary retention of medication before it can have its desired effects.